Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Bear here with the Scryguystv, and today the commander decks from Murders at Karlov Manor have been spoiled, and let's get into it. I've been tasked to do these commanders, so we're gonna release them a little bit slower, but today I'm going to be doing Nelly Borca, Impulsive Accuser. It is 2 Boros, legendary creature, human detective with vigilance. Whenever Nelly attacks, suspect target creature, then goad all suspected creatures. Whenever one or more creatures an opponent controls deals combat damage to one or more of your opponents, you and the controller of those creatures each draw a card. Really cool card. I've actually gone through the pre-con and it's cool, but this is why I really wish we went back to 3 block sets, just because I went to Scryfall. I wanted to check out how many cards give suspect in these colors, and there's just really not enough. So I'm going to go a whole different route. This will be a budget deck of $100, so I hope you guys enjoy that. And at the end of the video, we're also gonna have upgrades to however you want to build it, just like staple upgrades that I would put in this deck. But let's get started with the rest of this video. And the way I took this video is, or this commander deck is, let's goad to combat. We're going to be looking at cards like Taunt from the Rampart, 3 Boros, sorcery. Goad all creatures your opponents control until your next turn. Those creatures can't block. Really sweet and simple. I believe it's from one of the Lord of the Ring decks. I'm not too sure which one, but really cool because it's going to be able to give us at least 3 cards by the next turn that it comes back to us from our commander. Yes, it will give our opponents cards as well, but in Boros, it's kind of the par for the course for that, right? We also have cards like Coronation of Chaos, which is 2 in a red, sorcery. Up to 3 target creatures can't block this turn, goad them. This is going to be really sweet because if we need our commander to go ahead and attack, and maybe there's a player that only has 3 creatures, well, nice, those creatures can't block anymore. We attack, we get to suspect something, and we get to goad those creatures. So on the crackback, before it gets back to our turn, we're at least drawing a card from that as well. And then we also have Disrupt Decorum, 2 and 2 red sorcery. Goad all creatures you don't control. Pretty simple. Next slide we have Insufferable Balladeer, 1 in a red, creature dwarf bard. Vicious Mockery. When Insufferable Balladeer enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls can block this turn. Goad it. Another simple way for us to get our commander to suspect a creature and also have that player attack and give us a card back. To be honest, I think we have a fair amount of goad creatures in here, goad abilities in here, that I feel like our hand is gonna be somewhat full for the most part of the game. Now we also have Taunting Cobalt, which is just 1 red haste. When it attacks, goad target creature and opponent controls. Short and simple. Can come down as early as turn 1. Maybe it's gonna goad a Mana Dork, so that could also help us with getting rid of Mana Dorks, getting rid of early ramp for our opponents. And then we have a Komainu Battle Armor. I think I'm saying that right. 2 in a red, artifact creature, equipment dog, menace. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has menace. Whenever Komainu or equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, goad each creature that player controls, reconfigure for 4, and it is a 2/2. Really sweet way for us to goad all creatures and opponent controls. We do have ways in this deck to give our commander or other creatures unblockable, and so we suit this up with that. We can go ahead and draw more cards, hopefully. Next we have Glowing. Someone's gonna be super mad I didn't say that Lord of the Rings thing right. Dwarf Emissary, 2 in a red, legendary creature, Dwarf Advisor. Whenever you cast a historic spell, create a treasure token. This ability triggers only once each turn. Really cool. We do have a fair amount of legendaries and artifacts in here, so we should be able to produce at least a couple of treasures off of this before it gets off the board. And it also has an ability: sacrifice a treasure, goad a target creature. Cool. We have Baloth Bear Till Entertainer. It is 4 in a red legendary creature, El Shaman. Creatures your opponents control with power less than Baloth are goaded. Whenever a goaded attacking or blocking creature dies, you create a treasure token, and it also has choose a background. It is a 2/5. We do have ways to sort of buff our creatures here and there, but this is really just great for those decks that you're going to go up against that are mainly token decks. And so a lot of those token decks come down 1/1 or 1/1s. So have those things attack. We are possibly going to be able to make a bunch of treasures and continue with our game plan of drawing cards as well. And next we have Grenzo Havoc Razor, 2 red, legendary creature, Goblin Rogue. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, choose one. Go target creature that player controls, or you exile the top card of that player's library until end of turn. You may cast that card, and you may spend mana as though any kind of mana to cast that spell. It is a 2/2. Great card. Great for us to be able to generate some impulsive card draw, or be able to goad creatures to draw more cards. So really sweet. Works kind of both ways. If our commander is not on, we can kind of choose which modes that we really do need to focus on. Next we have Bothersome Quizet, 2 and a red menace. Go to creatures your opponent's control cannot block. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, go target a creature an opponent controls. Really sweet. Gives us a way for our commander to get through if it needs to attack and suspect things and go things. And it also, we do have a fair amount of sorceries, enchantments. We do have a fair amount of non-creature spells in the deck to be able to really take advantage of this. So good. Geode Rager, which is kind of, it's 4 and 2 red, first strike, landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, goad each creature target player controls, and it is a 4/3. So this is a budget deck, so unfortunately we don't have too many fetch type lands in the deck. But on the upgrades, if you can do the whole fetch land thing, then you could possibly ensue a whole bunch of chaos, get people attacking each other, and then draw cards from it, clear the way a little bit for your commander to attack. So really sweet card. I feel like Baldur's Gate set, every time I start building more and more decks, I start looking at more and more cards from this set. It is really good, and it's just the monetary the monetary value isn't there, but there's a lot of fun cards in there. So if you guys can pick up a box for cheap, I definitely would say do it. And then we have Vengeful Ancestor, 2 in a red, 2 and 2 red, flying. Whenever Vengeful Ancestor enters the battlefield or attacks, go target creature. Whenever a goaded creature attacks, it deals 1 damage to its controller. So again, we have plenty of ways to goad our opponent's creatures. If we have this and they're swinging, especially if they're swinging in a token deck, go white type strategies, they might just die on the attack. Super cool. I believe it came in the Baldur's Gate Commander decks. Fun card. And let's look at our Spoils of War. Let's look at the cards that are going to give us a lot of benefit for all of our opponents attacking each other. So we have Mongara the Diplomat, 3 and a white lifelink. Whenever an opponent attacks with creatures, if 2 or more of those creatures are attacking you, because sometimes they will be, and or planeswalkers you control, draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell, draw a card. So just a nice way for us to get more card draw into our hands. Aurelia the Law Above, the new one, 3 and Boros, flying, vigilance, haste. Whenever a player attacks with 3 or more creatures, you get to draw a card. Really sweet. Whenever a player attacks with 5 or more creatures, Aurelia deals 3 damage to each of your opponents, and you gain 3 lives. So man, if this would have been really sweet if it was just an enchantment. But no, really cool. Going to be able to generate you more card draw and then deal some incremental damage on those players that like to play wide. And then we have Light Minefield, 2 and 2 white enchantment. Whenever 1 or more creatures attack, Light Minefield deals damage to each of those creatures equal to the number of attacking creatures. So this could also hurt us. We might have a board that's only fairly 1 to 2 creatures per turn. You never know. We're not really trying to go wide with this. We're really trying to dictate the tempo of battle and dictate everybody else's like life totals and how their creatures act on the board, which is really cool. And this could also just really act as a way to clear the board. You know, we disrupt decorum, everybody has to attack, everyone's creatures are possibly going to die even before blocks and damage can happen. So a really cool card. One thing though, it does hit you, so be careful about that. We have Court of Grace 2 and 2 white. This isn't really a spoils of war, but this is a incentive for our opponents to keep attacking, keep it going, because when the Monarch comes into play, everybody wants those card draws. So we want to take advantage of that a little bit as well, just because for the most part we should be able to take back the crown every turn. So when it enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 spirit token with flying. If you're the Monarch, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying instead. We also have Court of Ire 3 and 2 red enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, Court of Ire deals 2 damage to any target. If you're the Monarch, it deals 7 damage to that player or permanent instead. So really cool. We can control like little weenies that are on the board. We can go ahead and shoot out Mana Dorks, Birds of Paradise, any sort that we need to possibly get through, get damage through, or get our attacks through. Next, we have Curse of Opulence, 1 red enchantment or a curse. Enchant player. Whenever enchanted player is attacked, create a gold token. Each opponent attacking that player does the same. Another way for us to incentivize battle or combat within our group or within the play. The table. Next, we have Suit Up for Battle. So these are going to be cards that we're going to put onto our commander so we can get those suspect counters and goaded abilities through. So we have cards like Spirit Mantle, which is 1 and a white enchantment aura, enchant creature. It gets +1/+1 and has protection from creatures. We also have Unquestioned Authority, 2 and a white enchant creature. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card and it has protection from creatures. This is just a way for us to have a safe way for our commander to attack and goad creatures and suspect them. Same with Psychic Paper, which is 2 artifact equipment. When it enters the battle, or when it becomes attached to a creature, choose a creature card name and creature type, which is really not gonna matter for this. It's only gonna matter in specific niche moments, but for this, we really have it here for the ward one, and it can be blocked. And then we have obviously the OG Whisper Silk Cloak, 3 mana artifact equipment. Equipped creature can't be blocked and has shroud and has 2 pay 2. We have Merc for Hire. So these are going to be sort of the incentive for our opponents to keep attacking our other opponents, even if we don't have goat on them. So we have Frenzied Saddle Brute, 4 and a red. Creature Orc Warrior has haste. All creatures can attack your opponents and planeswalkers your opponents control as though those creatures had haste. We have Death Kiss, which is a 5 and a red. Whenever a creature an opponent control attacks one of your opponents, double its power until end of turn. We have Monstrosity for XX and a red. When it becomes monstrous, goad up to X target creatures your opponents control, and it is a 5/5. And Bloodthirsty Blade, 2 mana artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and is goaded. And you can pay 1, attach Bloodthirsty Blade to target creature and opponent controls. Activate only as a sorcery. We have also Vow of Duty, which is 2 and a white enchantment aura. Enchant creature gets +2/+2, has vigilance, and can't attack you or planeswalkers you control. So we're gonna buff our opponent's creatures, but then even if it's just in a 1-on-1 situation, they can't attack us. The Vow of Lightning, +2/+2, first strike, can't attack your planeswalkers you control. Oh, you want to be a pacifist? You don't want to attack? You want to try to save your board from my goatedness? Well, we have cards like Angels of Triumph, 3 mana artifact. Attacking does not cause creatures to tap. At the end of each player's turn, tap all untapped creatures he or she controls that did not attack this turn. Angel's Trumpet deals 1 damage to that player for each creature tapped that way. So this is going to be a way for us to tap everybody's creatures at the end step, even if they didn't attack, and deal some damage to them. We're also going to get a little bit of incremental damage as well, but we're not trying to go wide, like I said. And we have Total War. You rarely ever see this hit the board in Commander, I think even especially today, but it is a 3 mana and 1 red enchantment. Whenever any player declares an attack, destroy all untapped non-wall creatures that that player controls that don't attack. Do not destroy creatures the player did not control at the beginning of the turn. So this is really saying that I'm going to force you to attack, and if you don't, I'm going to destroy everything. Well, everything but the wall. Oh man, this is sort of a V card, but it's funny because you play it on your turn, you play it on your turn, you attack, and then by the time it gets back to your turn, everyone's tapped. That all the creatures tapped out. It just keeps going. It's a vicious cycle. Next, we have Master Warcraft 2 and 2 hybrid Boros. Cast a spell only before attacks are declared. You choose which creatures attack this turn. You choose which creatures block this turn and how those creatures block. Really cool card. A lot of people like to get this out with that Boros equipment. It's not coming to mind right now. But really cool way for you to sort of dictate the battle between probably two of the top players at the table. Maybe they have the biggest board presence and you're like, well, I'm going to play this, wipe your board out. And then if there's any survivors and it's Crystal Land in Magic, you could also cast Fight to the Death before damage is even declared. It is a Boros instant. Destroy all blocking creatures and all blocked creatures. So you just completely just wipe 2 players out of the game. And it's just another card that I don't really see too often anymore as well. That's really the end for everything. I do have the deck list down below if you want to check that out. It's around $100 budget. Obviously, when the prices for murders at Karlov Manor come out, it'll update. It might be a little bit more or might not change too much depending. But these are some of the upgrades I'll probably just recommend, and I think they're really general upgrades, so you're probably going to be like, well, of course you'd add that. We have cards like Esper Sentinel. Smothering Tithe is probably the one I would say is at the top of the list, just because people are going to be drawing cards on your commander's effect, so you're gonna at least want to take some advantage of that. Maybe they pay the 2, they tap out, maybe they don't, you draw a card and you still get a treasure. So really cool card. And then we have Professional Faceburger. I'm sorry, I don't know why this slide was like this. Just another way for us to generate more treasures and get some impulsive draw with sacrificing treasures as well. Next, we have Deflecting Swat. We just need a little bit more protection. Same thing for Teferi's protection. And we have a Chroma's Will when we want to try to finish out the game. Maybe we've built up a decent enough board state and everybody has attacked each other to the point where we can possibly take them out with an Chroma's Will. And I believe the last slide is going to be cards like Galadriel's Dismissal, which is a 1 white instant, but you can kick it for 3 more mana. Target creature phases out. If this spell was kicked, each creature target player controls phases out instead. Really cool card. You can really just take out a player. Maybe someone wants to alpha swing at somebody, but they're like, well, I have enough blockers, so I'm good. So before you go to blocks, you go ahead and phase out all of their creatures, and now they're just dead. It's also just really mean, but you know, sometimes it'd be like that. Cards like Archivist of Ogma, 1 in a white, it has flash whenever an opponent searches the library, which I mean is happening all the time in EDH. You gain a life and draw a card, so just a little bit more card draw in here. And I believe the last thing we have is Jessica's Will. there is a fair amount of red cards in this deck. Sometimes Jessica's Will isn't that great, but for this deck, it might be really good. We do have a fair amount of also artifacts, colorless spells, so that could really benefit from this. Our curve is relatively low. It's about around 3.05. So hopefully you're going to be able to play Jessica, the cards that you exile with Jessica's Will with the mana that you generate from it. But you know, you just never know. But I believe that's the last thing we have. Yep, that's the last thing we have. I want to say thank you guys for joining us. Make sure to check out the rest of our channels. You know, Quest will be coming out with the decks from Karlov Manor as well. We're also uploading more gameplay. Hopefully you guys enjoy that. We're still kind of experimenting on how we want to do these videos. So I hope you guys enjoy that endeavor. And yeah, please like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what else we can do for you guys. We enjoy making the content and all that stuff. So yeah. All right, guys. Have a good day.